Have you ever wanted to create more unity within your employees? Well, you're going to love the tips we share today. Hi, I'm Daniel Lakstins, and I'm a 30-year vet in the roofing industry, and I am your personal commercial roofing guru. Now, today's topic is how can we create teammates instead of employees? And my special guest is Jef McCurdy. Jef McCurdy's been in the roofing industry for over 20 years. He's a quality support manager, and he also has a consulting company. And we're going to learn a lot from him today. But before we get into that, I'm going to do an intention of the day. So today's intention is my team and I grow together. My team and I grow together. Now, when you think about that, if you're growing as an entrepreneur, as a business person, and when you look at all your employees, they also are growing as a quality person, as a person that has better skills every day. And so sometimes when we're managing employees, we know their skills and we know their weaknesses. And if we think about the weaknesses, it kind of keeps us from having that positive energy. So when you use the intention that my team and I are growing together, it creates unity with them, but it also helps you to refocus your thoughts on their positive qualities. And as you do that, you're going to see your employees change and grow, and unity will come together. So remember that. And we'll talk more about this sort of thing during the show. So, are you ready to listen to an interview that I had with Jef McCurdy? Well, let's look in right now.
Hey, thank you for having me, Daniel. It's a pleasure. I'm a fan, as you know, so it makes me feel special to actually be here.
Oh, that's awesome. I feel special being with you, buddy, because think about it. We're both entrepreneurs. We've both been in the roofing industry for decades. How many years have you been in the roofing industry now?
Let's just say over 20. I don't want to age myself too much.
Oh, yeah. No, no, actually, I'm really young, too. Actually, you wait, though. Next year, I'm going to shave this beard off, and everyone's going to be like,
yeah. They won't recognize you.
Oh, they will. Yeah. Well, I'll just probably trim a little bit, and then because there's pictures of me even last year. I used to always just shave it off, then grow it back for 6 months, then shave it off. But these things grow in pretty quick, But
gotcha.
So you work for Castaga.
Yeah.
I wonder, is it a German company, American company, or?
No, it originated in Canada, but it's all the product line uses castor oil.
Yeah.
and it's agriculture. So
wow,
it kind of got its name there.
Yeah. So it's a healthy type of product then, because when we're kids, castor oil. Well, not us. When our parents were kids, they would have to drink the castor oil every night.
Right. Yeah, it is. It's cool because those of us that have been in roofing a while, we've seen the health effects of working with certain products over time, and it's nice knowing that I'm working with one that you can bathe in it. It wouldn't do much good as a bathing product, but it's not going to do anything. It's not going to do any harm to you. So kind of nice.
No, that's amazing though. Yeah, it's. Well, and let's see here. You're an entrepreneur, so you even have a consulting company. Is it called Kuruko?
It's just an acronym for Cool Roofs and Coatings.
Oh, I like it.
But throughout my time in the roofing industry, I've been general manager and director of commercial roofing. I've always found that my favorite part was the training and watching for those aha moments with the younger guys, and sometimes with the older guys too. And so I started Kuruko as a means of getting out and being able to train more people. The idea being just to help as many people as possible, and you get more help yourself by being out there and helping as many people. And that's sort of what led me to working with the manufacturer as well, is that they gave me a platform where I can train just so many more contractors. And that's the part that I really like, passing it on and Sometimes just calling people on their BS too.
Yeah, but it's really rewarding when you see that you've helped some people to grow into something bigger than that what they were before, and that you had some small share in that is a very warm feeling
Yeah.
inside, you know. And I think that a lot of roofers that are even watching this, whether you're the roofing owner or if you have employees, if you're an employee but maybe you're a foreman, it's rewarding. That's a rewarding part of the job when you come over and say, "Oh no, you'll get the welding down. You're doing this wrong over here," or "No, you got to move the wand just a little bit quicker." Or if you're, whatever, whatever application they're
Yeah.
using. So that is pretty amazing. So, but since you've been in this industry for over 20 years, you've seen a lot of things, haven't you? What would you
Seen it
say?
all, man.
Well, what would you say is the maybe one of the major mistakes that you see a lot of roofers do?
Oh, the single biggest mistake I've ever seen is guys jumping ship too soon. I have seen so many guys, really talented guys. So not a knock on any of these guys at all, but guys that
And what do you mean by
will work for
jumping
a
ship?
company starting off on their own a little too soon.
Mm.
Sometimes a lot too soon.
So you're
But
saying like basically they're working for a roofer and then they decided to just start their own business because they're like, damn, that guy's
yep.
making a lot of money. Even though he doesn't realize he has
First
to
off, he's
spend a
probably
lot of
not
money.
making as much money.
No, most people don't know that. But in time, it grows into something where it is worth money. But even then, you can't sell a roofing business. It depends. I've heard of people selling businesses as low as $4,000 and as high as over 100,000. But even then, it's
Yeah.
usually based upon the value of the equipment, maybe the office
Yeah.
building, things like that. So it's not like
Yeah.
the owner's really making a lot of money. And how many hours a week is the owner working versus the employees on that roof? Because they don't
That's
realize when
just
they go
it.
home, then when the owner goes home, they're still working, they're thinking, they're planning, sometimes they're on their computers, right?
Yeah. And so I've seen a lot of the younger guys that get in. They kind of, it's usually the guy that picks it up pretty well and already has a little bit of entrepreneurial spirit, and then they'll get a year or two in and go, well, this guy's an idiot. I can do this part better and I can do that part better. But if you've only learned from idiots, that's not a good basis to go out and then start your own business. So what I recommend when they listen, and that's 50-50, but I say, why don't you go work for somebody that you think actually does everything right for at least a year, see what other pieces you're missing there, then go out and jump out on your own. Because I'm never trying to talk anybody out of entrepreneurship. What I am saying is there may be pieces at the level that you're at right now that you're just not seeing. You might not be seeing the fact. Maybe you're seeing that the owner of the company rolls into the office at 10 o'clock in the morning, and you're going, "This lazy guy, I can outwork him." What you didn't see is maybe he was on his computer working on everything until 4 o'clock that morning, and he just needed a couple of hours for whatever. So there's oftentimes, and I think we're all guilty of this when we're young, is saying, well, I think I've got enough of the picture. I can go out and do this on my own. But bear in mind, these are risks that are worth taking, but it is a risky move. And so jumping in too soon is, I think, the number one mistake that I've seen people make. And it's human nature, but just when you think you're ready, I always recommend spending at least 6 months to a year working with a different company and seeing what you don't know.
That's a smart advice there. How do you think they should handle when it comes to talking to their boss? I mean, if they're starting their own business, they may be like scared to talk with their
Sure.
boss or what have you. Have you had any experience in that?
I know some bosses can be real jerks about it. I try to foster entrepreneurship on our teams. The last thing I want is to be the guy that held somebody back from being able to actually achieve something bigger. And we always need subs. We always need those referral networks to grow. And as a roofing company, we've never been able to do every single thing. We had a guy that did really great at metal roofing, and he said, I want to go start my own metal roofing. This was a guy that was 100% ready. And we started showing him, all right, hey, come in afterward, check out what the business side of the business looks like. Make sure this is what you want. And he stuck around for 6 months, got everything that he needed, and he's the guy that we refer all of our metal roof business to, because that's not, we're a coatings company, and that's not our game. But a metal roof, a coating isn't the right move for everybody, and the metal roof isn't the right move for everybody. Now we've got this great partner that has an awesome marketing machine behind him, outselling metal roofs, and when that's not the right move and a coating is, we get that referral. So we didn't lose an employee. We gained a really good friendship with a really good business partner.
That's amazing. Now, do you guys have in-house or say with the Castaga?
So
Is it Castaga?
sorry. So I shift seamlessly between my hats. So there I was talking about at the roofing company, because I also work with San Diego
Okay.
Roofing.
Oh, okay.
So
Okay. Now
that
that
was,
makes sense. Good. Good. Okay. So you're speaking from the perspective of for the roofing owners. I was the same
yeah.
way. As a matter of fact, so I owned a roofing business for 15 years, and it
Hmm.
was family. My grandfather was a roofer, and my brother left the company that my grandfather was working for and started his own roofing business. And I ended up helping him out and then working for him, and then like 4 years in, bought him out. And he went into
Nice.
he was ready for a change. He went into bathroom remodeling. And
Hmm.
so what's interesting though is when I had up to 18 employees, and I would tell them even during the hiring process, I say, hey, look, and I just want you to know, I mean, if you just don't know which one is a which one is an entrepreneurial type. I mean, nowadays
Right.
you can actually have them take psych tests, you know,
Hmm.
and then you'll know as soon as you look at all the testing, you'd say, oh, this guy may end up being my competition. Nah,
Yeah.
no one's gonna be competition. That's but the thing is, I
No.
told them, if you ever want to leave, what we all believe in the roofing industry is fair competition is good competition. And so
Absolutely.
I want us to always have a good relationship together. And so if this is what you eventually are going to do, don't hide it from me. Talk to me. Let me make sure that you're prepared. And lastly, uh, don't try to take a bunch of the customers because when you're working for me, I don't want those customers, while you're being paid by me, I'm paying you to bring those customers. So don't be taking those customers with you.
Exactly.
And then I'll get them to sign a document that says that, that you understand that while you're working here, every customer that you bring to me is property of Clear Blue Skies, which was my company back
Yeah.
then. I says, but now but after that, relationships, whatever, there's no hard feelings. As long as you treat me fair, I'll always treat you fair, and we can be friends in the future. And what I find is that, when you have two companies marketing together, yeah, I mean,
Hmm.
say, so they're marketing this way, you're marketing that way. Well, not everyone just calls that number and
No.
hires that company. They'll end up calling another number. So what happens is those customers that you would have lost to maybe someone you didn't like or you didn't know, roofing company, now
Right.
there's a couple of you guys out there where you're friendly, and it's such a better relationship. And because two people are marketing, that actually increases the wealth between two people. It's actually a good thing to have good
And
competition. What do you think?
and I always hope that we can just use it as an opportunity, use every opportunity we can find, but this being one of them, to elevate the industry. So if I know that my guy, hey, in 6 months from now, I want to get out and start my own business, and if I really think he's ready and a guy that I want to give my blessing to, then I'm going to start getting into it with him about pricing strategy. Why is it that we hold firm on good margins? Because this is how we afford things like family vacations and things that way. I might take him over and introduce him to a guy that I know that doesn't price things with any strategy in mind, and show him how that guy's living. This guy's working 70 hours a week, hasn't had a vacation in 5 years, and he's contracting out of desperation. You don't want this life for yourself. If you're going to get into this, you need to set some hard lines and realize we're not going to win them all. Not everybody's our customer. And I don't ever want to send somebody off to the gallows to go work for practically nothing. So many guys in this industry would be so much better off just running a crew on my team or somebody else's team than they are running their own business, because it's too many pieces for them to handle. And so they get desperate, they get scared, they start dropping their margins. Next thing you know, you haven't made over 20% margin on your last 5 jobs. Your accountant says you made $30,000 last year, and you're going, wait, but I billed 1.2 million. How is it I only made $30,000? And it's
Yeah.
because you're giving all your money away.
Right. And what's
And
worse, you want to hear what's worse about this? Is that here when it comes to your insurance, they don't ask how much money you made off that job. They want to know why. So you just did a $300,000 job. Oh, you lost $30,000. Well, you still have to pay the insurance based upon that $300,000 job, and the employees don't know that.
no, they don't realize that. I mean, that's a big pitfall, and it comes up even worse here in California, because our everything to do business costs more here in California. But our workers' comp on a lower skilled guy, we're paying almost dollar for dollar.
Hmm. Yeah. Now it's crazy. I think that a lot of the roofers or employees that don't understand this concept, normally they don't have what you were saying is the entrepreneurial spirit. But I think it's a little bit more, because an entrepreneur is an entrepreneur in my eyes. Because if you're an entrepreneur, yeah, you'll have known that since you were young. Now, granted,
Yeah.
it doesn't mean that someone can't become a good entrepreneur, but it's not easy to wear all those hats, is it?
No, but you'll see that too, like you said, with some guys that may not even have recognized it in themselves yet. But I've had guys that, maybe 18, 19 years old, and they're just joining my crew. It's maybe mine is the first roof that they've ever been on professionally. And within a couple of weeks, they're going, hey, my cousin could use a roof on his building. Could I get a commission if I sold that? And I'm always like, hell yeah, you can, man. And
That's
let's
good.
actually move
Reward.
you.
Reward.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then I'll start telling them, how many more cousins you got? You have a network of influence that is outside of my network of influence. And so I've paid big commissions to a guy that was only making $18 an hour at a certain point, and had them go, wow, okay, you know what? Maybe I want to switch over to a sales role. Cool. Let's try you out in a sales role. And if not, you're a good applicator, we'll move you back in. I think people get really set in this guy was hired for this role, and so I got to keep him there. And I let people try things out, and a lot of times they end up right back where they were, but they feel better about having tried it out and not having to leave a job and give up benefits or anything that way to go out and say, hey, I'd like to try 3-4 weeks of knocking on doors and see if I can make a big commission.
Yeah. Yeah, that's brilliant. That is really brilliant, because these are things that a roofing owner should know when it comes to their employees. Because, I think a lot of roofing owners, when you say they kind of live in fear, they're like, oh no, I mean,
Oh, yeah.
what if this guy, my brother was that way about things. Now, I don't think he's necessarily that way anymore, but he didn't want to train anyone to do the remodeling because he was afraid they're going to become his competition. And what happens is, well, you can't grow, and I always think about William Henry Sears and Roebuck, Sears. He would never have built Sears and Roebuck. Now, granted, it's gone now, but hey, it was an amazing company. Do you know most of the company? Yeah, yeah. I mean, they were Amazon before Amazon existed back in the was it late 1800s, early 1900s? So he started out as he was an engineer, and some person was peddling high quality watches on the train station stand, and then so that guy disappeared. He was there for a couple months, disappears, and then everyone kept asking William, hey, do you know where that guy is? And so he thought, well, he remembered the watches that he had, so he started looking and found where to buy them, and then made his own catalog while he was a train conductor. Well, he could have just stopped there. Well, I'm too afraid to hire someone because they're going to take my business from me. But most people aren't entrepreneurs. If you are one, you're an entrepreneur. You're not going to always work for someone, but most of us entrepreneurs do work for others. I personally would have 2 businesses and 1 job in my 20s, or I'd have 2 jobs and 1 business until it became a big business. And so, but you have to hire people. You can't scale a business unless you hire people. And if you're afraid they're going to become your competition, it's only a small percentage of us that are just born entrepreneurs. That's okay.
You also got to look at what the definition of entrepreneur is. You know, for most of us, it just really means that we don't want somebody else being the puppet master of our destiny, and we want to be able to go out there and earn the maximum reward for our efforts. And so we've got sales guys in the field today that are getting, you know, they're not out on their own at their own company that they built and signed the license for, but they're getting entrepreneurial style benefits and all of that with a little bit of a safety net of it's not your huge dollar investment up front. And it's great. It satisfies that entrepreneurial itch, and you get to find out that these guys are just tireless, and they will go out there and they will knock on every door and everything that way. And I think these are a great guy to partner with. Will you keep them forever? No, maybe not. But don't try to cap their rewards either, and I think you'll keep them a lot longer.
That's a beautiful advice, and it's true. Here's what I also say too: when you're hiring someone, you don't want to burn that bridge. Meaning that if they're an entrepreneur, great, and if they leave, that's great, and then you keep this good relationship. But now, what if someone thinks they're an entrepreneur? Maybe they have a little bit of the spirit, but they don't have the skill set. If you get pissed off at this employee and they take off, and maybe they're a really good employee, because if you're not an entrepreneur, you're not necessarily great at this, you're good at doing all of those things and putting the pieces together, but you're not necessarily, you can be super skilled at one specific thing. But if you have this person super skilled and they think they can sell, they think they can manage the money, they think that they can market their company, they think they can do all those things, and then they go out in the real world and 6 months later, they're like, I can't do it. I just can't do it.
Right.
So here's the thing is, why burn that bridge? Because if they were a really good employee, that's the difference. Our fathers would sit there and go, poor boy, he'll figure it out. He'll figure it out.
Right.
And so, but dads never gave up on us. So wouldn't it be better to, instead of being an asshole, to be dad and just go, hey, I wish you the best. And if you need some help, I'm here for you. And then if it doesn't work out because they don't have that skill set, but they're really skilled, bring them back, because we can still use their skill set in our business. And then maybe even pay them as an entrepreneur, meaning pay them what you just said, right? Pay them the value that they're producing, and maybe even do it on a reward system. Is that's what you're talking about?
Yeah. I think we get hung up a lot in the trades in general on this person, at every other company, this person earns X amount of dollars. So at my company, they're going to earn X amount of dollars. And we really we forget about any sort of individualism, any sort of extra value that a good guy can actually bring to the company. Maybe the guy's just an average applicator or just an average roofer, but he's the guy that gets all the guys fired up in the morning. You can't really put a dollar sign on the value of that, but if he's helping the morale of the crews that he's on, there is some intrinsic value there that you want to keep that. And
that's a good point.
That guy he might deserve, maybe it's not an hourly thing. We find if you really look into it, that paying people more on an hourly basis doesn't necessarily make them happier at their jobs. But the other things that you can do as an employer can. Bonuses are always good, but changes in title, especially nowadays, we're not as rigid about what titles are. I wish I'd thought of this earlier. It just came to me, but I've got a guy at San Diego Roofing that I might just call him, might give him cards that say morale leader. And
that's brilliant.
Cool. Recognition for him. Employees thrive on recognition. They also thrive on you investing in them. So, this idea that I don't want to overtrain somebody because then they might leave me. Probably the opposite is more true. If they're finding that you are constantly investing in them and constantly giving them opportunities to learn and grow and everything that way, why would you leave a place like that? Exactly. This place is giving me all the opportunity I could ever ask for. There's nowhere else to go. I want to stay here.
That's building value in your company.
Hmm.
Because I'm the kind of person, like in our business, we'd give away movie tickets like at least once a month, but sometimes twice a month I'd pass out movie tickets. And,
Nice.
you know, who are they thinking of when they're at the movie theater with their family? You know,
Yeah.
Batman. No, they're thinking about you, superhero, right? All right. So,
Right.
and, you know, I mean, you should have a place where your employees feel like, wow, I've got a really good deal here. I have a really good
Yeah.
deal.
I think a lot of us, and maybe it was the same for you, kind of grew up in this environment where, and I've said this 100 times, where we were taught that the trades were supposed to be stressful, and that your first day on the job, you were supposed to get yelled at and cussed at, and eventually you had to earn your way up to a place where you didn't have to do that. And look, I'm not particularly the biggest fan of this whole "we got to coddle the millennials" thing either, but if they're teaching us, hey, maybe don't be a jerk to your employees, that's probably a lesson we should have learned way before the millennials got here. And by making our employees feel valued and wanted, and like, hey, this is a place where you're safe, not a place where you're going to come every day and get yelled at and beat into the ground. This is a place that you should be looking forward to coming to. Yeah, we're going to work our asses off. If we plan our work right and execute a good plan, we're going to get off in time for a happy hour on Fridays. You
Mm,
know, like, we're
it's
going to
fun.
build some reward into this hard industry. And look, somebody's got to do it anyway. But if we can be the crew that's having the most fun while we're doing it and doing it right and everything that way, then we're going to attract more of this business. You know, I always try to teach employees that the more you bring in, the more value there is here. I'm not trying to keep, I don't even have a percentage in mind. My goal is pay as much as I can, but I'm not just paying it out. I want to see a return for this. So
Mhm.
let's go out and build a great company together, and we can, what's the old saying? A rising tide carries all ships.
That's awesome. You have to make the company. So if we can just explain to these our employees that look, you're a part of a team. It's kind of like the basketball team. We all play a part. We share the ball, but we're winning this game together. So, but we have to do it as a
Right.
team. But I like what you're saying too, because if you have some sort of reward system, but here's the thing too, is that if an employee doesn't pull their weight, you know, a lot of times I hear all this stuff about minimum wage, and you know, I get that. I want people to make a living, but if a person
Right.
doesn't produce enough money while in their work, you know, then wouldn't it be better for them to make a little bit of money than not make any money? But the thing is if they're costing the company money, you know, you hire someone and they keep breaking the tools. Well, they're not worth the money that you're paying them. So what are we going to do? Kick the can down the street? Meaning fire the person? Well, then that's where that whole thing doesn't work. I think we can get our heads together as a country and come up with a solution for that.
I hope, and on the micro level, I hope that a lot of the times the answer will really just be mentoring and saying, "Look, man," and I've got no problem being direct with guys and saying, "Look, I got 4 guys on this roof right now. You are by far the weakest link. What's going on? Is there something outside of work? And if it's consistent that this guy is just not going to catch up, I can't have him around because it sets a bad morale for the rest of the crew. When you're doing double the amount of work and you're seeing this guy every time you turn around, he's sitting there like this, texting with his girlfriend or
Hmm.
looking at Facebook or what have you. That's
I
bad. That
keep.
brings the entire crew down.
Well, then
And but I
they'll sit there and notice that, and they say, "Well, shit, if he's doing it and making the same amount of money, I can do it." You know.
Why shouldn't I do it then? Yeah.
Hmm.
And then you
That's
come back on the
poison.
job
It's like a virus. It's like
after an hour.
a virus spreading around to everyone. Yeah.
That it's that one bad apple thing. So I personally try to be more carrot than stick, but if the carrot doesn't work, then you're probably not a good fit, and let's part ways amicably. And I've even told guys, look, man, get your shit together and call me. Let's
Yeah.
talk when you're ready to work, but I can't have you here not ready to work. It's beyond all of the other reasons. It's not safe for you to be here when your head is not in this game. We work
Mhm.
in a very dangerous industry. There's a reason we pay as roofers workers comp more than anybody else, because we run into more opportunities for injury. So let's not have the guy whose head is in the clouds here, the guy that's having whatever trouble at home. I just can't have you there.
No, no. As a matter of fact, maybe we should try that person out in sales, or,
Yeah,
or
something.
yeah,
Keep
something.
you off of the roof. Yeah, if there's
Well, how much
anywhere
do you
else
pay
that
me
I
for
can.
sales? Well, how would you like to make a lot of money? I'd love to. Well, you have to do the work though. But
Yeah,
you talk about sales, that a person can be rewarded and then go, oh, there, I get it now. I can make a lot of money if I make the company a lot of money. Yeah.
I think that for that, and I've heard you talk about this on your show before, but that's where I really think this old notion of no transparency just doesn't really work, especially nowadays. And having that full transparency as a company, and man, morale hums when everybody sees one of your guys get a $50,000 commission check for selling a big job, and then everybody's going, man, wait, how'd you do that? What do I got to do that? And why not have everybody on your team be an arm of your sales department too? What does it hurt?
It's brilliant. Yeah. Everyone should have their own cards. Everyone should.
Yeah,
And what was the card that he
I
chose for that
remember.
kid? Morale booster. Ambassador.
Booster,
Yeah. Morale
morale
ambassador.
manager,
Yeah.
ambassador. I like
Yeah.
that.
I'm the
Yeah, why not?
ambassador.
It's little things that we can do that help build a culture of winning, and I promise you this much: no matter, we're finally as an industry starting to talk more and more about this. The NRCA is getting big on company culture now, and I'm so happy to see that. But even as this conversation grows, if you are the roofing company in pick the city that builds a great winning culture at your company, you will be better than 90% of your competition, because the other 90% are still going to be the guy that's waking up drunk, rolling onto work a little bit late, yelling at his guys because he forgot to eat breakfast, and making everybody around him feel less that he can feel more, when really he should be doing is trying to make everybody else feel more so that we can do less.
I love it. Yeah. Yeah. I even know there's a friend of mine that has a roofing business in Montana, and he's got like ping pong tables. His place feels like Google. So it's a roofing company.
Nice.
When you walk in there, you feel like you're at Google, and it's kind of important, I think, would you suggest even having like a weekly, bi-weekly or monthly some sort of, I don't know, food, or have a food truck come by and pull up beside
Yeah.
the shop,
What Think about it. Like, what does that cost you? The percentage of what that costs you as the business owner versus what is the percentage of impact that it has on an employee. One free lunch can be a huge deal. Maybe maybe the guy puts his $10 of lunch money away every week and look for that engagement ring or something.
Yeah.
These little things that we really think have that big of an impact, you have no idea what the domino effect on those things can be. And think about this: there's always going to be the next company that'll offer your guy 50 cents or $1 more per hour.
Hmm.
But if your
Not
guy
worth
is going to
it.
leave, no, if your guy's going to leave your company, reset his benefits, everything that way for $1 more an hour,
And be the
you have
rookie.
not given them.
He's gonna be
Yeah,
the new rookie over there. Here he's a rock
right.
star,
Well, if he leaves, my point is that if you're going to leave for that $1 more an hour, then you haven't created enough around. You haven't created any reason to stay, and that comes back on as either the manager or the owner. Like, create that. Do the ping pong tables. Do the food truck. Do those things, because then when they're going, yeah, $1 more an hour, but I'm the reigning ping pong champion right now. I get lunch for free every Friday. Sorry, man, it's not worth it. There's
That's
those
brilliant.
little things, and I'm not saying we can use that as an excuse to underpay our guys, but there's always going to be that thief that doesn't want to develop his own guys, doesn't want to do anything that way. He'll pluck your guys out for $1 more an hour, and we can do things. We can create a culture that prevents that.
That's brilliant. That's beautiful. Well, dude, I think that's probably our time for the show. But boy, I tell you, that was an awesome conversation, Jeff. I really appreciate it.
It was so much fun to meet you, man. I hope we get a chance to chat again soon.
Absolutely. Hey, but before we go, where can people find you if they, I know you do some consulting. Um, one more thing before I let you go. Um,
Sure.
I recently realized that you're a skateboarder. I saw,
Oh, yeah.
I saw that was pretty badass, dude.
Thank you. I took 16 years off because the injuries sort of piled on, and I thought that that was the problem. And then finally, I don't know what took me so long. I guess I'm a very slow learner. But after 16 years off, I was like, huh, still in a bunch of pain. I'm just not having any fun. So I said, screw it. Got back on the skateboard. I've been hitting up, my niece and I go for about 5 hours a week to different skate parks around San Diego County.
Wow.
And the crazy thing is, rather than getting back on the board, making the pain worse, everything that way, a fitness trainer, a friend of mine, says motion is lotion. And I am feeling just 100% better than I was a year ago when I started. And it's almost exactly a year because I got my first skateboard back on last Christmas. So it's been incredible. So I would encourage anybody, if there's that old thing, if you haven't ridden your BMX bike in 20 years because you thought you got too old or anything that way, I just picked skateboarding back up right after my 40th birthday. So we can get out,
Wow.
we can, and I'm learning tricks that I'm doing certain things better than I did in my youth. Obviously, recovery is a little bit slower and my power is a little bit less, but my technical skills on a skateboard are better than they were when I quit when I was in my 20s.
That's incredible. And I love what you said, that motion is lotion, because I used to always say this, that it doesn't matter how old you get. It's normally that you get better jobs to where you're not in moving your body. And so it's, people say, well, that person's, well, I mean, just look at the football stars right now, how old that they're in their 40s. You see a lot of these guys that are doing so well,
Yeah.
way into their early 40s. And, what's my guy's name? Oh, not my guy's, but JB's guy. No, it's, who's the most famous quarterback right now out there? Used to work.
Holmes or
Well, he's awesome.
Ben Roethlisberger.
I'm talking
Ben
about
Roethlisberger,
old people. I'm
my
talking about
age and having the best year of his life. That's
yeah.
amazing.
Well, and also with the Saints, I just can't think of my.
Oh yeah, Drew Brees.
Drew Brees. No, Drew Brees. Yeah, Saints. That he's a perfect example, but the most perfect example of eating right. The guy's a vegan now, and he has more muscle mass. He's quicker than he's ever been, and he just left. Not Boston. Anyways, for some reason, just not popping.
Oh, Tom Brady.
Tom Brady now he's down in Tampa.
Yeah.
Hey, shout out to everyone in Tampa, Florida that got a new football player. But no, if we go ahead and keep doing those things, it's all in our beliefs, isn't it? But that's when if you have back pain, go out and work out, and then the back pain goes away. Yeah, you're absolutely right.
But yeah, man, whatever it is you think you're getting too old for or anything that way, I think we go through a thing in our late 20s, early 30s where maturity becomes important to us for some reason. Then we get into our late 30s, early 40s and go, oh, that sucked. I'm going to get back to being immature. And I'm going to get back to having fun. And
we're in an ugly age contest until we're about 40. And then after that, we're like going, oh, fuck, I don't want the gray beard. I don't want all this. I don't want the wrinkles anymore. I want to look young, Yeah. I don't feel that way at all.
It's so much fun to just get out and do these things, I mean, pushing yourself. And like I said, I took 16 years off and I feel better than ever. I'm down 15 pounds in the year from getting out and riding the skate park. My cardio's getting better. It just, my doctor is like, wow, your blood pressure is better than it's been in 10 years. What are you doing? I said, skateboarding.
Wow.
It's been great. So
that's incredible.
We're not too old.
Never. You're never too old. Never too old. Well, that's cool. So, Jef McCurdy, where can people find you?
You know what? I'm real easy. I'm Jef with one F on LinkedIn, Jef McCurdy with one F on Instagram. You can also find me at castagra.com or kuruko.com.
That's awesome. Well, thanks so much for being on the show, and
Thank you for having me, man. This was so much fun. Let's get together again soon.
absolutely. Now, wasn't that a great interview? So we can see a lot of good points and tips that we can use that Jef shared with us. And remember that creating unity is also showing transparency, teaching, letting them know where you stand, and help them to grow in their abilities. So even if they're an entrepreneur, we don't have to be afraid of someone leaving or taking our customers, but we can actually help them to grow as a person. And we'll see that, different people that have good qualities and skill sets here or there, once they understand that they're trading value that they're giving you for that money, then they can truly understand where you're coming from, and then we can help each other to grow together in unity. So we really appreciated Jef being on the show. So now it's time for Did You Know? Did you know that I'm going to be speaking on March 31st through April 2nd. So this is going to be a conference in New Orleans, a Storm Ventures group. And so if you go to the windstorm.com, you can register there and come to the show, and I'd love to see you guys there. So it's going to be awesome. I'm going to be discussing, actually I'm going to be putting several subjects on the Facebook Storm Ventures group, and I'm going to put a little poll to see what subjects that maybe you would like me to cover. So if you want to, go to Facebook, Windstorm Ventures group, and then you might check out that message. And also, if you would, go to winthestorm.com and register for the show. So that's pretty much the show. I appreciate you all for watching. Remember that if you haven't subscribed to the channel, please click subscribe. If you're watching this on YouTube, subscribe and hit the bell so that way you can also enjoy knowing that I'll have another one of these episodes up for you. And remember this too, that I don't always consult in commercial roofing, but when I do, I make millionaires. Stay wealthy, my friends.